All right, so we're diving into A Court of Thorns and Roses this time.
Oh, yeah.
And wow.
Have you read it?
I have.
Yeah.
I recently read it for the first time and just could not put it down. I mean, it's
addictive.
It's so much more than just like a fairy tale kind of story.
Right.
It's got this like raw and gritty feel to it in parts, but then it's also got like this beauty too.
This magical element. What were your first impressions when you first read it?
I was really struck by that, that blend of like grittiness and like this beauty.
Mm.
And you're right, it's not like a sanitized fairy tale at all.
Right.
The human realm where we first meet Feyre is harsh, almost bleak.
Yeah.
But even there, she finds beauty in the simplest things, like colors in nature or the way light plays on fabrics.
Right.
It really reveals a lot about her character.
Oh, absolutely. She's surviving.
Right.
But she's also actively looking for beauty, like in this world that's often so cruel and unforgiving.
And that makes her talent for painting even more interesting, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like it's not just a hobby for her. It's a way for her to express her longing for something more.
Totally. And that longing ultimately leads her across the wall into Prythian, the fairy realm.
Yes.
And we have to remember that that wall is not just a physical barrier.
Right.
It represents centuries of like fear and mistrust between humans and fairies, born from this history of conflict and oppression.
Yeah.
So when Feyre crosses that wall, she's stepping into a world that's both alluring and terrifying at the same time.
Yeah, I remember when I first read about Feyre killing the wolf, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
It seems so brutal, but then it turns out, of course, it wasn't just any wolf.
Right.
It was a fairy in disguise.
A fairy in disguise, exactly.
What did you think when you first read that scene?
It's such a pivotal moment because it really sets the whole story in motion.
Yes.
And immediately throws us into like the complex dynamics of this world that exists. Feyre is simply trying to protect her family.
Yeah.
But suddenly she's thrust into this world she doesn't understand and is forced to face the consequences of her actions.
And those consequences come in the very attractive form of Tamlin.
Right.
This powerful high fae who takes her as his prisoner to his estate in Prythian. But their relationship is so complicated.
Oh,
there's this constant tension between Feyre's distrust of all fairies and Tamlin's like overprotective nature.
Yeah.
It's like he's trying to keep her safe, but he's also kind of keeping her at arm's length at the same time.
Absolutely. And what I think is so fascinating is that he makes sure that her human family is safe and provided for while she's in Prythian.
Right.
He even uses his magic to make sure that they are comfortable and they have what they need.
Right.
Which, speaks to a certain sense of honor and responsibility.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. But it also kind of makes you question his motives.
Yes.
Is he really trying to protect her, or is it something more controlling?
This is going on.
And that question lingers throughout this first part of the story.
Yes.
And it's further complicated by the fact that he's not totally honest with her about everything going on.
Exactly.
He presents this like carefully curated version of Prythian.
Yes.
This beautiful world of enchantment, but he's hiding the darker aspects.
Yeah.
The dangers.
The blight.
Yes, exactly.
The blight.
It's this looming threat.
Yeah.
That can corrupt magic and destroy everything.
And it seems to be connected to some serious power struggles between the different fairy courts.
Yeah. What do you make of the blight?
The blight represents this disruption of the natural order in Prythian.
Okay.
It's this force of chaos and destruction. And its origins are totally shrouded in mystery. So it suggests that something is really deeply wrong.
Yes.
That the balance of power in this world is on the verge of collapse.
And then we meet Rysand.
Oh, yes.
The High Lord of the Night Court.
Right.
He's got this dark, dangerous aura about him.
Absolutely.
And he seems to know a lot more about the blight and Tamlin's past than he's letting on.
Way more than he's letting on.
Like there's this tension between them.
Yeah.
Like two predators circling each other.
Exactly. Rysand's introduction throws everything we thought we knew about Prythian into question.
Yes.
He represents a very different way of life. A world of shadows and power that both repels and attracts Feyre.
Yes.
And he's not afraid to challenge Tamlin's authority at all.
Right.
Even going so far as to subtly undermine him in front of Feyre.
Yes, exactly. He's always dropping these little hints about things that Tamlin is hiding.
Right.
Which makes Feyre question everything she's been told.
Yeah, it's like he's trying to open her eyes to a reality that Tamlin is desperately trying to keep hidden.
Yes, and then just when things are getting really interesting, Tamlin sends Feyre back to the human realm, saying it's for her own safety.
Right.
It's so heartbreaking, but it also feels like he's running away from something.
It does.
Or maybe trying to protect some kind of secret.
Yeah, and it's a decision that reveals so much about Tamlin. He obviously cares about Feyre. That much is clear.
Yes.
But he's also bound by his own fears and secrets. Right. Which prevent him from being fully honest with her. Yeah. He's trapped in his own way.
Yes.
Just as much as Feyre is trapped in this, like, gilded cage he's created for her.
Yes, and she's back in the human world, and she's grappling with all these feelings.
Exactly.
She's escaped one form of captivity only to be trapped by her own emotions now.
Yeah.
She misses Tamlin. She misses Prythian, but she also senses that something's just not right.
And her instincts are spot on. Yeah. Because while she's trying to adjust to life back in the human realm, Prythian is facing its own crisis.
Yes.
Tamlin, it turns out, is a prisoner of Amarantha, this cruel high queen who has seized control of the Spring Court.
Yes.
And another innocent human girl, Claire, was sacrificed to protect Feyre. It's this chilling reminder of the darkness that lurks beneath the surface of this world.
I was so angry when I read that.
Yes.
It felt like such a betrayal.
It is.
Not just by Tamlin, but by the whole idea of Prythian as this, like, beautiful, magical place.
Yeah, it's a turning point in the story, for sure.
Yeah.
It shatters any illusion of safety and reveals the true cost of Feyre's involvement in this world.
Yes.
And it really sets the stage for her transformation from this, like, passive recipient of Tamlin's protection to an active agent in her own destiny.
Yes, because she doesn't just sit back and wait for someone to rescue Tamlin.
Yeah, exactly.
She takes matters into her own hands.
Yeah.
And she goes to Under the Mountain to try to save him.
Save him, exactly. And Under the Mountain is where we'll pick up in part 2 of our deep dive. We'll explore the trials, Feyre faces, the bargains she makes, and the sacrifices she endures.
That's going to be good.
It's a journey that will test her limits and force her to confront the darkest aspects of both herself and this fairy realm.
I can't wait.
When we left off, Feyre was at the foot of Under the Mountain, determined to rescue Tamlin from Amarantha. It's like a huge turning point for her.
Right.
She's not the timid girl who first crossed into Prythian anymore.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, that wall between the realms, it represents so much more than just a physical divide, I think.
Yeah.
It symbolizes like her own fears and insecurities, all those barriers that she had to overcome to even get there.
Exactly. And this time she's choosing to go back.
Yes.
Knowing what awaits her.
She knows it's dangerous.
She does.
Yeah.
And Under the Mountain itself is just this place of immense power. It's like the heart of Prythian's magic, but it's also a place of darkness.
Yes.
Amarantha has built her fortress there.
Right.
This whole labyrinth of cruelty and despair.
It's like descending into the underworld almost.
It is.
And the trials that Feyre faces.
Oh, they're brutal.
They are so brutal.
Both physically and emotionally.
Yes.
She's pushed to her absolute limits, forced to confront her deepest fears and make these impossible choices.
Some of those scenes were so hard to read.
I know, and Maas doesn't shy away from depicting those horrors that she has to endure.
No, she doesn't.
And remember, she's not just facing physical challenges.
Right.
Amarantha is manipulating her, torturing her psychologically.
Yes.
It's a test of her resilience, her will to survive.
Yeah, that scene where she's forced to drink the poison.
Oh my God.
I was like, what is going to happen?
I know.
It's like a turning point for her.
It is.
Because she realizes she can't rely on anyone else to save her.
Right.
She has to tap into her own strength, her own cunning to survive.
And that's ultimately what allows her to get through it?
Yes. And then Rhysand shows up.
Oh my goodness.
Right when she's at her breaking point.
Yes.
Offering her this bargain.
Yes.
He'll help her through the trials.
Survive. Yeah. But she has to spend 2 weeks every month with him in the Night Court.
Oh, it's such a risky proposition.
It is.
You know, she's trading one form of captivity for another.
Right, but she has to weigh her loyalty to Tamlin against her own survival.
Yes.
And Rhysand, despite his reputation, offers her something that Tamlin never could.
What's that?
Freedom.
Freedom, yes.
Yeah.
It's interesting how Maas plays with our perceptions of good and evil here.
It is.
Because Tamlin, the supposed hero, keeps Feyre trapped.
Yeah, in this gilded cage.
Yeah, and then Rhysand, the villain, is the one offering her freedom.
It makes you question everything you thought you knew
it does.
about these characters.
Yeah, and it really all comes to a head in Feyre's final trial.
Oh, yeah.
When she's faced to kill 2 innocent fairies to win her freedom.
It's awful.
It's a decision that haunts her.
It does.
It really does.
That scene is heartbreaking because it shows us the true cost of what she has to do to survive.
Right.
The guilt, the trauma that she carries. Yeah. She made the decision out of desperation, but it changes her.
Absolutely.
It changes her forever.
It's like she's crossed a line.
Yes.
She's taken a life.
Right.
And that has really stained her soul.
And it's something that she has to reconcile with.
Yeah.
It's a huge part of her transformation.
Right.
Remember, those trials weren't just physical challenges.
Right.
They were designed to break her.
Yes.
To force her to confront these dark parts of herself.
And in a way, they succeeded.
Yes.
But they also revealed a strength that she didn't know she had.
Exactly. It's like she's been forged in fire.
Yes.
Tempered by all this suffering.
And then we have the confrontation with Amarantha.
Yeah, the climax.
Feyre is battered,
Yes.
broken,
Totally.
but she's ready to sacrifice everything to save Tamlin.
And that's when she discovers her true power.
Yes, it's not brute force.
Right.
It's not magic.
It's her love for Tamlin.
Yes.
Her willingness to sacrifice everything for him.
And that's what breaks the curse.
Such a powerful moment.
Yes.
It really speaks to the transformative power of love. Its ability to overcome even the darkest magic.
But it's also a reminder that love can be a source of vulnerability.
Yes, definitely.
Because even though Feyre defeats Amarantha, she's not unscathed.
No.
She's got scars.
Right.
Both physical and emotional.
Yeah.
And her relationship with Tamlin is forever changed.
Exactly. The victory comes at a cost.
Yes.
And in part 3 of our deep dive,
yes,
we're going to explore those costs, the consequences of all of her choices, and what happens as she navigates this new reality in Prythian.
Okay, so Feyre's back in the Spring Court. Amarantha's gone. Tamlin is free.
Right.
You'd think it'd be like this moment of pure joy.
Yeah.
But something's off.
Definitely.
It's like there's still this like shadow hanging over everything.
It's interesting how Maas uses the Spring Court to explore this idea of like a gilded cage.
Right.
Like on the surface, it's everything Feyre ever wanted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful, luxurious, safe.
Exactly. But when you look closer, you realize that this perfection is an illusion.
Yes.
It's like carefully crafted by Tamlin to protect Feyre from the real Prythian.
Right. And remember how she was so fascinated by the art in his manner?
Yes, especially that mural.
Yes, with the human and fairy realms.
It's like she's drawn to the beauty.
Yes.
But she's totally missing the darker truths underneath.
And it's not just the Spring Court itself.
Right.
Tamlin has changed too.
Oh, he has.
He's so withdrawn.
Yeah.
Almost haunted by what happened.
It's like he's trying to recreate the life they had before Amarantha.
Yeah.
But something's just broken between them.
Yeah, he's definitely grappling with his trauma.
Absolutely.
And his own powerlessness. I think he wants to keep Feyre safe. But his methods are so controlling.
Yeah, he isolates her.
Right.
Limits her freedom.
Yes.
And makes decisions for her without even asking.
Like he's trying to shield her from pain.
Yeah.
But he's taking away her agency at the same time. Exactly. And it's like he's repeating the same patterns as Amarantha.
Yes. And then she finds out about the glamour on her family.
Oh my gosh. That scene.
I know.
When she realizes he's been erasing their memories.
It was just heartbreaking.
It was such a betrayal.
It felt like the ultimate betrayal.
Yeah, it forces Feyre to really confront her situation.
Right.
She may be free from Amarantha.
Yeah.
But she's still a prisoner.
Yes. This time in a prettier cage.
Right. She's trapped by Tamlin's fear, his need to control everything.
And then there's Rysand.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that bargain she made?
2 weeks a month in the night court.
Yes.
It's not a punishment at all.
It's the opposite.
It is.
It's where she starts to heal. And she discovers her true power.
Right. He sees her strength.
Yes.
He doesn't treat her like this fragile human who needs protecting.
Exactly. And he trains her.
Yeah.
Helps her unlock all these abilities.
He gives her the tools to break free.
Yes. Not just from Tamlin.
Right.
But from all the limits she's put on herself.
It's like he's helping her become who she was always meant to be.
And she sees the world differently after spending time in the night court.
Yeah. All those lines between good and evil, light and dark.
Yes.
They're not so clear anymore.
In the night court, which is supposed to be like this evil place.
Right.
It's actually full of complexity.
Yeah.
Loyalty runs deep there.
And Rysand himself is not who he seems.
No, not at all.
He's not just this villain.
Right.
He has his own scars, his own secrets.
Yes.
Remember when he shows her the scars on his back?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
From Amarantha?
It changes everything.
Yeah, you see his vulnerability.
Yes.
He's not just this powerful fairy lord.
So Feyre is caught between these two courts.
Mm-hmm.
Two very different men.
Both claiming to love her.
It's like a classic love triangle.
It is.
But the stakes are so much higher.
Oh, yeah. The fate of Prythian hangs in the balance.
And it all comes down to Feyre's choices.
And what I love about A Court of Thorns and Roses is that it doesn't give us easy answers.
No, it doesn't.
It makes us think about power, love, sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
It makes us question everything we thought we knew about good and evil.
Yes.
And what it really means to be free.
Feyre's journey shows us that we can all break free from those cages we build for ourselves.
Absolutely.
That we can embrace our true potential and fight for what we believe in.
It's a story that stays with you.
It
makes you question your own beliefs, your choices, even your capacity for love and courage and sacrifice.
That's a wrap on our deep dive into A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Wow.
What a journey.
What a journey.
I hope you enjoyed it.
Me too.
Until next time, happy reading.